Coming up on the Charge on Air, rising egg prices might impact some students beyond the grocery store.
A metal tariff has some students worried about their pot of gold.
And how a UCF student is hitting turbulence as the FAA faces massive layoffs.
In sports, international students experience the electric atmosphere of an NBA game.
The Charge on Air starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to the Charge on Air. I'm Jack Hanzal.
And I'm Alana Greene. Today is Friday, February 28th, 2025. 400 FAA employees are without jobs today after the Trump administration made yet another cut to federal workforce. Charge on Air reporter Emily Ching shows us how this affects one student.
This is Sofia Maravilla. She's a senior at UCF and a commercial multi-engine pilot with roughly 1,000 hours under her wing. She started flying when she was 14 and got her commercial pilot license at 18 years old, with the hopes of being able to fly for a commercial airline one day.
Both my parents are pilots, which is kind of how I fell into it. But I've always loved to fly. It's always just been a passion of mine.
Ed Maravilla is Sofia's father. He's been a captain for Spirit Airlines for 10 years, and he says he's been there for her every step of the way.
She was probably 6 months old. She was sitting on our laps flying the airplane all up and down the California coast.
The process of getting a commercial license includes passing check rides, completing a written and oral exam, flying 250 hours, and more.
My goal in all of this was just having her to do something that she really enjoyed. I actually never pushed her to be an airline pilot.
But the safety of aviation is up in the air, with the Trump administration imposing layoffs for the Federal Aviation Administration, just weeks after numerous aviation accidents. According to the Associated Press, the administration says no critical safety positions were fired, but some had direct roles in assisting airport operations and safety inspections.
I have gone to both the Orlando Tower and the Miami Center and spoken with air traffic controllers. They are spread very thin. They work almost 60-hour work weeks.
You can hear it in their voice, how stressed out they can get, especially during peak times. And it's just nonstop talking on their part. And as you're going through Jacksonville airspace, you just can't wait to get out on the other side so you can get away from that stress environment that they are under.
At the end of January, fiscal data reported transportation only makes up 2% of U.S. government spending. And reports from the National Transportation Safety Board state that there have been 100 aviation accidents within the past 2 months. 9 have resulted in serious injury and 11 have been fatal.
In aviation, the Swiss cheese model is a common way to visualize layers of defense against accidents. Each layer of Swiss cheese represents a barrier of safety, and a hole represents a potential weakness. When you remove a slice of cheese in the middle, it opens up the possibility of surrounding slices to have a hole that line up. And when holes align, that's where accidents happen. People like Ed fear that that's how miscommunication happens with air traffic control, and recent layoffs are just layers in a stack of cheese being taken out.
Experts say they predict there will be travel delays and potentially more crashes if planes flying under the radar don't get timely directional assistance. And although technology and aviation have come a long way since the 1950s and 60s, from more reliable engines to improvements in weather radar, the lack of oversight can undermine these advancements.
Right now, things are looking a little dim, but that doesn't mean it can't change. I think people will recognize that they want to fly in safe airplanes. They don't want to question whether or not they're going to land and get home to their families. I love flying. Even if it was unsafe, I would continue to do it. I am hopeful that things can change.
In Orlando, Emily Ching, The Charge on Air.
According to CNN, air traffic controllers were exempt from Trump's buyout that was included in the emails sent to them late last month.
The United States is gearing up for a disruption across factory floors and in metal retailers across the nation. Charge on Air reporter Courtney McLean tells us more.
It's a big deal. On February 10th, President Donald Trump announced that there will be a 25% tariff imposed on steel and aluminum imports coming from all U.S. trade partners. With these changes going into effect on March 12th, the president claims this will allow Americans to see less subsidized Chinese metal flooding global markets and help keep more U.S. producers in business. Climbing prices may put pressure on a number of industries and on everyday Americans, leaving some in difficult positions. Barry Gampson is the general manager at Surplus Steel and Supply in Apopka and says he believes that prices will work themselves out as they have in the past.
I think prices go up and down. Steel is a commodity just like gold and silver and this other, so it's constantly fluctuating. Certain world events, certain things like tariffs, supply and demand, there's all kinds of things that raise and lower the price. I don't think it's a bad thing.
These tariffs have the potential to create higher production costs in many fields. The groups that I am showcasing are factory workers and students that are a part of a car club. And even projects here at UCF, just like this project behind me, may be seeing a higher cost in metals in the future. While many may focus on the changes to industries and jobs, students may also feel the impacts of this change. Hamza Rahman is a recent UCF graduate and an auto enthusiast. He still enjoys coming to the meetups for Knights Chariots, a UCF club for those interested in vehicles. While he believes the tariffs will cause damage, he doesn't think they will stop members from maintaining their vehicles.
Honestly, from a non-political standpoint, they are detrimental because the economy is already in an inflationary period, and by implementing tariffs, you're going to further introduce more inflation into the market.
As citizens prepare for these upcoming tariffs, the administration announced that they are looking into expanding tariffs to imported copper as well. In Orlando, Courtney McLean, The Charge on Air.
The CEO of Alcoa, one of the largest U.S. aluminum makers, announced on Tuesday that tariffs on aluminum could cost 100,000 American jobs.
Some restaurants are cracking under the pressure of higher egg prices, and UCF students may notice bumped up checks when going out to their favorite diners around campus. In response to the bird flu outbreak and rising egg prices, the restaurant chain Denny's announced they are adding a surcharge to all of their meals containing egg. The chain, known for their value, now shows on their website that one egg will cost $3. But Denny's is now not the first chain to up their prices, as Waffle House added 50-cent surcharge earlier this month. These price hikes continue as grocery stores like Costco and Trader Joe's limit customer egg purchases as prices reach up to $8 a carton.
Hey Alana, why did the sun go to school?
Why?
To get a little brighter.
Oh no. Anyways, Grace, is it actually going to be brighter this week?
I'd definitely say it's going to be a lot brighter this week. So let's take a look at our current conditions. Outside, the current temperature is at 78 degrees. So for humidity, we're at about 41%. The wind, it's not too windy outside. It's going northwest at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, so nothing too crazy. With rain, there's barely any chance of rain. It's at 1% right now, so you can go ahead, take those umbrellas, put them back in the closet. But that's all for weather for now. I'll be back with more weather updates later.
Sounds great, Grace, but you know, I spent a week on that joke. Coming up, a lack of resources keeping music students from hitting the high notes.
Plus, one UCF student is now taking on the Department of Homeland Security with a lawsuit. Stick with us, we'll be right back.
We said we'd never give in to a meltdown.
Okay.
And we'd never babysit with a screen. We said we'd never let the toys take over.
Mariella!
Never leave the house looking, well, and never let them out of our sight. Skylar, come here. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
When we have the food we need, we are at our best. we push further. We rise higher. We unlock our full potential. When we are at our best, we have more to offer the world around us. When we have the food we need, we make our communities stronger. Together, we can help everyone get the food they need to thrive. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Music students are struggling to hit the high note right now with practice spaces in the Performing Arts Building. Charge on-air reporter Armani Sloan has the story.
With demand outpacing availability, students struggle to stay in sync with practice routines. Linda Joy Shishin, a UCF music major, launched a petition calling for a QR code reservation system for practice rooms. The petition highlights how practice spaces reach capacity for hours, causing challenges for students with rehearsal needs. Shishin gave me a quick tour of the building, and it was clear the lack of a formal reservation system is a major issue.
We tend to want to practice around the similar time, which can cause problems, especially because we don't have a reservation system here yet. And as you can see, on the practice rooms, we have papers listing reservations, but oftentimes those papers get taken off or disregarded.
Several other departments on campus have reservation systems like Zeus or even the UCF library site where students can reserve study space. For music majors, however, a system isn't always the norm. The difference between a stellar or a subpar performance can be a piece of paper.
Jesse Cook, the associate professor of trumpet, says there is not enough staff to help with reservations.
The faculty and the administration on the local level, going up to the dean's office even here in the College of Arts and Humanities, do not have the person power to manage a reservation system. We are struggling to just get our people, our students, through the degrees in the time that we have allotted.
Cook says the college has more music students than the facility can accommodate, and that he suggests students practice outside of peak hours until a solution is found. In Orlando, Armani Sloan, The Charge on Air.
Shishin is now in the proposal phase, discussing potential systems with management to improve practice rooms.
UCF students are feeling the effect of new DEI regulations toward universities nationwide. The Charge on Air reporter Grace Gedwar tells us more on how students fear the loss of educational funding.
Florida Senate Bill 266 has been having several effects. It highlights any institution that receives federal aid must cut DEI funding.
Diversity and equality are hallmarks of what we all believe as a country. But these top-down DEI approaches and mandates led to division and inefficiency.
This means that any organizations involving race, religion, or even disabilities should not be considered for further funding. UCF has taken down everything in Milliken Hall that has to do with DEI. Selma Pellick, a sophomore at UCF, fears when she searches for scholarships, she may not be able to find any.
Cutting out DEI regulations kind of cuts out a lot of funding for underprivileged students and first-gen students like myself that have worked really hard to get to the point where we're at. That would make it a lot harder for us to advance our education and go into careers and fields that we want to go into.
Colleges and public universities are no longer allowed to fund any type of social activism, any educational majors that have anything to do with diversity, equity, or inclusion, and no longer allowed to fund any type of political activism on campus. When asking for a comment from the president's office, they refused to speak on the topic. The sociology department refused comment as well in fear of messing with funding they already have received. Multiple scholarships at UCF, such as Hispanic Heritage Fund Award, rely on the DEI laws to fund students for their education. Emily Gonzalez, a freshman at UCF, fears she may not have the ability to apply for scholarships in the future.
I'm also worried that since I'm Hispanic, that the Hispanic scholarships are going to be pulled as well, and I fear that other Hispanics out there won't have the opportunity
to get those scholarships.
81% of students rely on financial aid to fund their education, according to UCF. This implicates that many students may no longer be able to afford an education if financial aid is pulled. In Orlando, Grace Gedwar, The Charge on Air.
The Trump administration gave universities across the country 2 weeks to end DEI incentives, or they would lose federal funding. This was blocked by a federal court judge last week.
The National Temporary Protected Status Alliance filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for revoking the temporary protection status for Venezuelans. Charge on Air reporter Casey Stone spoke with one of the 7 plaintiffs in the case.
Cecilia Gonzalez and her parents fled Venezuela in 2017. Despite having applied for asylum in the United States that same year, Gonzalez and her family remain reliant on their TPS, temporary protective status. That status is now set to expire in September due to newly appointed head of DHS, Kristi Noem, who reversed a decision by her predecessor extending protective status to Venezuelans.
We deserve to be here. We have the right to dream without limits, to live without fear, and to continue contributing to this economy.
Noem's decision to revoke these protections will force roughly 600,000 Venezuelans in the United States to relocate back to Venezuela or to a third-party country. A similar lawsuit was filed against President Donald Trump during his first administration when he issued an order to end TPS for Haitians, which the courts overturned. The lawsuit states that Noem has taken 2 illegal actions within 1 week of assuming her role as head of DHS. Political science professor Dr. Aubrey Jewett says this lawsuit allows the executive order to be challenged. Now it's up to the judge to evaluate the evidence and determine whether or not this executive order is unlawful.
A lot of presidents have begun to issue executive orders to sort of go around Congress, to try to do things that they want that they know Congress won't approve.
During times of fight or flight, Gonzalez says she already left one country, so she plans to fight in this one. Reporting in Orlando, Casey Stone, The Charge on Air.
Gonzalez will be graduating this May and hopes to attend grad school in Washington, D.C.
Well, we had a little bit of rain this week, but it looks like we're going to have clear skies this weekend.
Plus, stick around for an inside look at UCF's sailing club and how they're making waves into their next competition. We'll be right back.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go. Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family. We're the family.
Yeah!
Oh, I thought you were on my team.
And welcome back, everyone.
It's time to check in with student meteorologist Courtney Fowler from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University for a look at our national forecast.
Our national outlook is looking pretty calm across most of the United States. In the Midwest, there's no weather. Additionally, in the western coast of the United States, there's also no weather. There is a low pressure system, however, in the Pacific, but that's not set to impact anywhere on the western coast of the United States. However, the biggest weather story that I want you to pay attention to is this low pressure system that's dominating in the Great Lakes. As this low pressure system moves eastward, it's going to bring in a wintry mix. So the blue areas here, snow, yellow, wintry mix, and then of course the green is going to be rain. In contrast, though, moving into the western coast of the United States, they're experiencing higher than normal temperatures, especially in the areas outlined in red, especially in Nevada, Colorado, and Nebraska. And this is partially due to this high pressure system that is dominating in these areas. So again, they're going to have the greatest chance for these above normal temperatures. But moving back to our neck of the woods, back to UCF to give us the weather information in the upcoming week.
Thanks, Courtney.
Now, let's jump to Grace Gadoir for a look at our local weather this week.
Throw your coats back in the closet and head outside because it's a beautiful week ahead of us. All right, so if you're going to take a look at these temperatures on the screen, if we're looking north, Gainesville is at about 74 degrees right now. Palm Coast at a lovely 68. Leesburg 75. Winter Haven, more down south, is at 78 with Tampa at 77. If we're heading to the other coast, Melbourne is at 72 degrees and in downtown Orlando at 76 degrees. Now let's take a look at the next 5 days forecast. Alrighty, so you can go ahead and crank your AC up because it is going to be high 70s all the way up until Wednesday. Wednesday is when we're going to finally hit that 80 mark, up to 83. The lows are going to be anywhere in the 50s, with the only exception of Tuesday being 66 degrees. The rain forecasts are pretty low, so you can go ahead and roll down your car windows. Now let's head back to the desk.
Thanks for the report, Grace. Now it's time to hoist the sails. Coming up, we're giving you a close-up look at UCF Sailing Club.
Plus, UCF Global welcomes international students with a trip to an Orlando Magic game. We'll be right back.
I debate all day. It's what I do. But there are some things that are undebatable, like your mental health, my own mental health. I was in a dark place when my brother passed away in a car accident. I've never been more devastated than the day I lost my mom. I was depressed, miserable, in ways I never imagined. I reached out, and my sisters came. My pastor, my therapist. They helped me get through it. I found that the more I spoke up, the healthier my mind became. The chaos that was in me began to subside. I was more focused, clear. When you love your mind, you can go so much further. That's not up for debate. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org.
Bring it.
Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home.
Okay. Bye, guys. You guys need a ride?
Sure. Yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one?
I gotta go eat, man. Sorry, I'll see you later.
How crazy it is at UCF right now.
What's going on, Knights? My name is Nolan Bottomley, and it's time for your weekly dose of sports. Spring sports are back, but don't forget about sailing. With upcoming competitions, the UCF Sailing Club is making waves. This student-led team offers a chance to experience a thrilling, yet often overlooked sport. Whether you're a seasoned sailor or a complete beginner, all skill levels are welcome. The sailing club competes in 14 regattas throughout the semester, and its next big event is just around the corner, the Halifax River Invitational on March 1st at Embry-Riddle. Earlier this week, UCF Global introduced international students to American sports. Our reporter, Manuela Salinas, tells us more about this once-in-a-lifetime experience.
The venues, the talent, the electric atmospheres, they're all exciting features in American sports. But for many international students at UCF, the roar of the crowd and the thrill of a live game is something they never experienced until now. UCF Global brought a glimpse of the NBA to 50 international students, giving them the chance to experience an Orlando Magic game firsthand. Michael Herrero, UCF Global Coordinator, says the purpose of this is to give them a new perspective.
We want the international students to have a taste of life in the United States, experience U.S. sports that they don't see. Basketball is very prominent in the United States, maybe not so much in the other countries. So we're here to show them, hey, let's have some fun in a way that Americans like to have.
For these students, it's more than just a basketball game. It's about stepping into American culture and creating memories. Memories that will last long after the final buzzer. For Guadalupe Molinari, an international student from Argentina, this experience is already a memory she'll hold on to. Because for her, it felt like a warm welcome to the U.S.
Like I'm not a strange person coming out. Like I just feel like I'm part of a whole, which makes my experience in UCF and like in Orlando way better.
UCF Global knows that activities like these make a difference. That's why it plans to continue hosting events in different fields, including cultural and culinary activities. Beyond helping them feel welcome and included on campus, UCF Global wants to make its members feel connected to the country they'll call home. In Orlando, Manuela Salinas, The Charge on Air.
UCF Global says all students are welcome to join its future events and explore new cultures. If you still want to catch a game, there's more time to get your fill of sports. The UCF softball team has a match today at 2 p.m. against the Mason Patriots. In baseball, we'll be batting against the University of South Florida in Tampa at 5 p.m. And tomorrow, the men's basketball team will be in Fort Worth, Texas to go up against the TCU Horned Frogs. And you can catch all of these games live on ESPN+. Well, that's all the time I have for sports now. Again, my name is Nolan Bottomley. Now back to you two at the desk.
Thanks, Nolan. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have for right now. Thank you for joining us. To stay up to date on UCF News, head over to thechargenews.com.
Plus, you can keep up with us during the week on our Instagram, @thechargenews. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.